Welcome to the Be Magnetic podcast, where we ignite deep abundance and step into soul-led success without losing joy, freedom, or peace. This is for the woman who is bored, disconnected, and exhausted trying to win a game she doesn't want to play anymore. If your soul is calling for more flow, more ease, more magic, but you're not sure how to get there, get ready to become magnetic and create a life that is as juicy and abundant as you've always dreamed it could be. Hi and welcome back to the Be Magnetic podcast. Today we have a really exciting topic, which is the best feminine sales tactics. So if you get the ick every time you see someone do income marketing, cold DMs, or pain point selling, and you're ready to sell with soul, this episode is for you. So the other day I've seen a thread on Threads around someone sharing she feels tired or she gets the ick around every time she sees someone do income marketing. And I was like, yes, girl, like absolutely, me too. And so I actually wanted to expand on this because since there's already two of us feeling this way, I have a pretty good idea that there might be more. So let's talk about what are actually feminine sales tactics that we can engage in as women that are not incorporating income marketing or cold DMs or pain point selling or something icky like that. Because honestly, I do believe that if more women would actually sell from their soul, sell from a way that feels truly, genuinely exciting and inviting to them, they would also have bigger impact, and the world needs more women who have big impact, who change the world to the better. So let's plant this seed, let's plant this vision for this episode today. So one thing that I want to start us off with is that women have an innate power to sell in a non-salesy way. So these, let's say like traditional sales tactics that feel very icky to most of us, like the income marketing, the cold DMs and all of that, the hard launches and stuff like that, they are very masculine oriented. So they are all coming from men. Thank God they have paved the way and they have done incredible things, but it does not really align with our innate energy as women. And we have, as women, and I keep saying this, we have gifts that are untapped, like potential when it comes to leading business that is untapped. And one of these is being capable of selling in a non-salesy way. So we, through the way we're wired and built, have the power to actually sell in ways that feel very natural, very comforting, very beautiful, not just for us, but like mostly for the people that we sell to, right? And when we talk about these feminine sales tactics today, or like especially one feminine sales tactic, yes, we talk about making selling feel more aligned for us, because obviously if you feel icky or gross around the way you're selling, it's holding you back in business. And that's not what we want, right? But we also talk about how can we redefine the way we're selling, the way we're making money as a collective for other people, right? Because I do believe that the experience of working with you starts the moment you start a conversation with someone. Way before you actually work with them in a paid setting, they already get the experience of working with you. So the moment you start engaging with someone's stories, the moment you start having a conversation in DMs with them, the moment they listen to a podcast episode, and then even the moment where you sell to them, it's also a way of them experiencing how it is to work with you. So we want to make sure that this whole experience of exchanging something with you is feeling beautiful for the other person, so that you can actually impact them in the way that you can impact them. When it comes to, and that's also like a little bit of a disclaimer to start us off, when it comes to leaning into more feminine way with selling, we need to trust in a higher power, because a lot of the stuff that we're going to talk about and a lot of the stuff that involves feminine sales tactics does feel counterintuitive, and it does take away this very masculine concept of being in control. The income marketing, the cold DMs, and all that stuff that we are very wired to try when it comes to selling in business does work because it keeps us in control, and we are wired to be in control, but we're not designed to be that way as women, right? Control is a very masculine concept, and sometimes it does serve you, but most of the time it doesn't. So letting go of control when it comes to selling is probably one of the hardest things, but one of the most necessary things if you want to shift to a more feminine way of selling. You will have to let go of control, because the tactics that I'm going to share with you, they are not gonna help, they're not gonna allow you to be in control. You have to surrender in order for them to work, in order for them to actually be executed the right way. And in order to let go of control, you have to trust in a higher power. You have to trust that A, you're taken care of, B, people are naturally being guided your way, and that your spots, or that you're selling enough in the most divine way. And the only way that helps you let go of control is if you trust in a higher power. So that is really, really important. You have to trust and believe that you're not alone in this, that you're not making this business work all by yourself, but that there is a higher power, universe, source, God, spirit, whatever you want to call them, that are guiding and supporting you on this journey. And by the way, I have had so many spiritual guidance sessions for my business. I've received them for my business, and I would not be here right there today in my business and in my life if it weren't for the spiritual guidance that I received for my business, both channeled through myself and channeled through other people to me. And this is off the topic, but if you ever want a spiritual guidance session, I do offer channeled readings. They can be applied to anything, business, money, life. I do offer them. If you're curious around them, you can DM me on Instagram, channeled, and then I can share more information. Okay, so what are feminine sales tactics? So a big part of feminine sales is leaning into community and connection. When I say we have an innate power to sell in a non-salesy way, is because we have an innate power to connect, build relationships. We as women, if we look back to, even just 50 years ago, 100 years ago, women's job was to socialize. It was to take care of the family, to nurture the family, to make sure that everyone is taken care of and everyone has social connections so that we can thrive, right? The women were the people that held the tribe together, versus men were the people who, kept safe, right? And so we have innate capabilities to build community and build connections. We need to harness that when it comes to sales, because the most beautiful way in which you can be sold to is really if you have a friend who offers help, right? If, let's say, your friend has a beautiful business as well, and they do incredible things. I don't know, what's something that you maybe need? They do incredible artwork, right? You have a new home and you want to decorate that home, and you need desperately this beautiful piece of artwork. The best way to be sold to is if your friend comes and says, hey, do you want this? I've just made it and I think it would look really, really nice in your living room. And you're like, of course, what can I give you for that? This is the most beautiful way to be sold to. And it only happens if we have the right connection, right? If you have a beautiful connection with the people that you want to sell to, or the people that you want to serve, selling becomes natural. It becomes a natural invitation to the next step. And I know there is some weird energy around this selling to like friends or family. And I have a lot to say around this, and I'll save that maybe for a next episode. But what I want to say is that it does not have to feel bad, because money is also just energy that is being exchanged. And if you do believe you can genuinely help a friend or a family member, offer them your help. It doesn't need to be about money, right? They can pay you in different ways. Maybe they have a service or offering that they can give you in exchange, or maybe it is money as well, and that is okay then too, right? But the way we sell when we have a connection with someone becomes so effortless, because we can then actually say like, hey, in like a normal conversation, and this happens to me all the time, right? Friends come to me and they ask me for advice, and I'm like, I'd love to help you, like, let's have a session, right? And it's not like I pressure them to do that, it's just an invitation. Which brings me to the next point, and the best feminine sales tactic, which is to offer an invite. So masculine sales is very much so pushing people into something, right? Whether that is through content marketing or through psychologically, framing things like, what's it called? Like bonuses or discounts or stuff like that, urgency. Those are all psychological sales tactics, and they work, but they're not feminine sales tactics. Feminine sales is offering and inviting. And you already just let's feel into what that feels like for a second. To offer and to invite. How beautiful does that feel, please? So what do we mean by offer and invite, right? So you have a connection with someone, you have conversations with people, you know about them, you know who they are, and you feel very connected to them. And something comes up. They say something to you, or they've experienced something, you take note of something, and you notice this is actually very aligned with what you do for work. And so you offer them your help and you invite them into this paid setting. This feminine sales tactic does require you to release anything and everything that you have known about selling and doing business, because it is very hard to do this in set launches. It is very hard to do this out of the need of making money. It is very hard to do this whilst wanting to stay in control. You will have to surrender everything you know around doing sales and fully surrender to this way of selling if you're serious about it. Because if you do this in set launch, you will again approach this with pressure and expectation, and that is not feminine energy. If you want to approach this with feminine energy, which the energy with which you approach it, that is what makes it so potent, not the action in itself. Then you have to be completely surrendered and completely connected to the soul that you're selling to. And then out of that serendipitous moment where an opportunity presents itself, you offer and you invite. And then you release, you surrender, you have no expectations and no pressure. You trust that if this soul is meant to come into your life, into your business, into your offer, they will. And if not, there'll be a new opportunity to offer an invite. So in order to do feminine sales, we have to release the pressure to sell, the pressure to make money, the pressure to fill spots at a certain time, at a certain day, to a certain price. And we have to release the expectations on ourselves to hit certain income goals at certain points in time, the pressure on certain people to jump into certain offers, to do a certain way. We just have to release all pressure and all expectations so that with ease, in complete surrender, we can offer an invite. And then we have to let people come to us. And that sometimes looks like a friend asking you for help and then you just responding to, and if you're a generator, this will feel so good to you, like responding to their outreach, basically. They're ask for help, you get to respond in a way, again, you're offering and you're inviting. You're offering your help and inviting them to a paid setting. Or it can also look like if you've already offered and invited, you then let them come to you or let them go. Whatever they choose. There is no pressure and no expectation. That is the best feminine sales tactic. If you want to learn more about feminine sales, I have 2 incredible next steps for you. One is a free soul strategy checklist, a checklist that helps you kind of understand where in your business you are still leading from masculine energy, still doing things that feel out of alignment and icky and gross to you, and at the same time create the awareness around how to shift into a more feminine, more aligned way of doing business. And then the second offer is, or the second next step is Soul Led, which is my one-off spiritual business strategy session where we dive deeper into unraveling what no longer fits you in terms of your strategy, in terms of the way you're leading in business, the way you're selling and designing your business. And we can dive really deep into helping you rewire the way you are selling so it does feel aligned and beautiful and easy and sacred. The world needs more women who sell from softness, and this is the best way to start you off. I highly, highly empower you to dive into some of the offering and inviting and let go of the icky sales strategies that feel good to no one, really. If you're new here, then go and binge episode 164 and also stay tuned for the episode that's coming out in a couple weeks from now, where we go deeper into flow-based business strategies and kind of like expand on what we spoke about today. And if you're frequently listening, watching, then DM me Soul Led for your next step, and I will see you next week. Bye.